One of the most tragic tales in NBA history is the story of Len Bias. The year was 1986, and the Boston Celtics were on top of the world. They had just won the championship, Larry Bird was in his prime, and they held the number 2 overall pick in that year's draft because of a trade with the Seattle Supersonics 2 years prior. And it was a great year to have the number 2 pick, because Maryland superstar Len Bias was primed to take over the league. It's hard to emphasize how much hype Len Bias had, especially 40 years later, but just know he was a complete beast. At 6'8", 220 pounds, he was an athletic freak who could get to the rim and score at will, and he also had a silky smooth mid-range game. In his senior year at Maryland, he averaged over 23 points a game on 54% shooting in the ACC. He was widely expected to be the bridge from the Bird era to the next era of Celtics basketball in the 1990s, and many believed it was almost certain he would become a perennial all-star and possibly even an MVP one day. And that's what makes what happened next so devastating. The day after he achieved his dream and was drafted by the Celtics, Bias returned to his dorm at the University of Maryland to celebrate with his friends. Then, in the early morning hours of June 19th, after using heavy amounts of cocaine, he began having seizures, and paramedics rushed him to the hospital, where he was tragically pronounced dead at 8:55 a.m. due to cardiac arrhythmia induced by a cocaine overdose. He was only 22 years old. It's truly a tragedy that we never got to see how Len Bias' career would have played out, and it remains a cautionary tale to young people that they are never invincible. One day, Len Bias was on top of the world, drafted by the world champs, and the next he was cold in the ground. All that potential extinguished in the blink of an eye. But Len Bias wasn't the only player that was supposed to take the reins of the Celtics dynasty during the 1990s.